President Yoon Suk-yeol will have a full week of diplomacy as he travels to Southeast Asia on Sunday, ahead of the annual summit of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the East Asia Summit, which will take place in Laos. But before the multilateral events, Yoon will stop by the Philippines and Singapore. Our correspondent Oh Soo-young is in studio with us today to tell us more about the significance of this trip. Welcome, Soo-young.
Hi, and it's great to be here.
So, Soo-young, first let's begin with the stopovers in the Philippines and Singapore. So you reported this week that there will be major economic diplomacy going on, but tell us more about the diplomatic significance of this trip.
Sure, Angie. So strengthening ties with individual ASEAN countries is hugely important for South Korea, especially as Seoul and the 10-member organisation are upgrading their ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership this year. Now, closer cooperation with ASEAN is part of Seoul's greater Indo-Pacific strategy that aims for regional peace and prosperity. So this not only means increasing trade ties, like you said, but also expanding political and security cooperation. Because stability in this region, as you know, faces various challenges from North Korea's security threats to maritime disputes and trade uncertainty due to geopolitical rifts and growing economic protectionism. For the Philippines, South Korea is an attractive security partner, given Korea's military capacity and defense technology. Last year, they agreed to work together on the maritime front amid tensions in the South China Sea. So it seems they will follow up on that this year too, with consideration of their respective alliances with the United States, of course, and that's according to a presidential official when I asked. Now, as for Singapore, President Yoon will meet with all three top leaders, political leaders of the city-state, including Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, who took office earlier this year.
Right, then President Yoon heads over to the ASEAN Summit, where he will take part in the same annual gatherings. But now all eyes are on whether the summit between President Yoon and the new Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba will take place.
That's right, Unji. The two leaders have in fact already spoken on the phone on Wednesday, not too long after Ishiba took office and had his first phone call with President Joe Biden of the US. Now, during that 15-minute conversation, the Korean and Japanese leaders discussed the need to cooperate on North Korea and also the need to continue deepening their bilateral ties. Significantly, they agreed to meet up frequently, continuing the so-called shuttle diplomacy or top-level visits that President Yoon and former Prime Minister Fumio Kishida had engaged in since last year to drastically improve bilateral ties. Now, Yoon and Ishida ended the call agreeing to meet at the earliest opportunity for candid discussions, which will likely be during the ASEAN Summit. A presidential official told reporters that Seoul and Tokyo are indeed talking about it, based on the assumption, though not a confirmation, that Ishiba will attend the regional gathering. So all of this, these are all positive signs coming from their very first phone call. And now how will they get along? Now, it might be hard to replicate the sort of genuine trust and friendship that Yoon and Kishida had formed over the past year and a half over their shared interest in improving bilateral ties, as well as their rather cozy dinners with their wives. But Ishiba is considered dovish when it comes to South Korea, unlike the right-wing faction of Japanese politicians who dismissed Japan's wartime atrocities in the 20th century. So Ishiba would also like to see stronger security cooperation across the region, so some promising prospects there for bilateral ties. Here's what Dr. Kim Suk-hyun had to say.
Ishiba is someone who has a personal sense of political philosophy. He's someone who will prioritize Japan's national interests. While he may be relatively weaker in domestic or economic policy, he will likely focus on achieving significant accomplishments in the security field, where he is confident. Rather than being constrained by historical issues, he may aim for greater security cooperation with South Korea and broader regional relations in East Asia. I also think there is potential for further improvement in Korea-Japan relations, especially with the upcoming 60th anniversary of normalized diplomatic ties next year. If the two leaders are willing, there could even be a joint statement marking the occasion.
And Soo-young, if they are to meet, what will be on the agenda?
Well, Yoon and Ishiba will discuss how to improve their bilateral ties, how to further improve it, rather, in light of their 60th anniversary next year, and how to address North Korea's nuclear threat to Seoul and Tokyo, of course. But experts say a bigger point of discussion may be the future of the trilateral cooperation with the United States. Now, the three countries at Camp David last year agreed not only on deterring North Korea and cooperating on regional security, but also pledged to work together on economic security, supply chains, health, health, cutting-edge technologies, as well as development assistance for Pacific Island countries. With a new American leader to take office next January, Yoon and Ishiba will likely look to stabilize the trilateral relationship, as Harris and Trump or any other US leader is unlikely to be as pro-alliance as President Joe Biden is.
All right, we'll have to wait and see what happens at ASEAN.
That's right, and as ever, waiting and seeing.
Thank you for your report today, Soo-young.
It's my pleasure to be here.